Senior Trade Commissioner and Consul of Canada, Mr. Chris Wiemer, General Manager responsible for investments, operations and maintenance of Zorlu Energy, Mr. Ali Kinda, Gürmen Group Board Member, Ms. Yasemin Gürsolmaz, HiCop Association President and 22nd and 23rd term, Aydın Member of Parliament, Mr. Ahmet Ertürk, Saturn Power CEO, Mr. Ray Roth, Göktekin Energy CEO, Mr. Abdullah Göktekin. Dear distinguished guests and dear participants, on behalf of Turkey-Canada Business Council, I would like to thank you for joining our webinar, Turkey-Canada Geothermal and Renewable Energy. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome our keynote speakers. Today, we will discuss possible cooperation opportunities on the geothermal and renewable energy sectors between Turkey and Canada. Before the opening speeches, I'd like to make some brief remarks. Allow me to begin by briefly introducing DEİK. Foreign Economic Relations Board, DEİK, is a business platform that has been continuing its activities on a voluntary-based private sector membership for 35 years. In order to enhance investment and trade between Turkey and other countries, we continue our works with an understanding of business diplomacy. We have 146 country-to-country based business councils all over the world. Turkey-Canada Business Council is one of them. Despite their geographical distance, Canada and Turkey share long-standing common interests. They have a long history of strong economic and diplomatic relations. I believe that the economic figures do not really reflect the potential between Turkey and Canada. We should definitely expand, deepen and improve our business and mutual investment relations in all areas. The improvement of our existing collaborations in energy sector, especially in geothermal and renewable energy sectors, is a must. Turkey, which aims to reduce the external dependency on energy and speed up geothermal and renewable energy investments within this scope, has grown rapidly over the last 10 years. Highly dependent on imports for its natural gas and oil needs, Turkey has made tremendous strides in renewable energy capacity over the past decade. Its total installed power has tripled since 2002, when it stood at around 32,000 megawatts and has surpassed 96,000 megawatts. Turkey ranks fourth in the world and first in Europe in terms of installed geothermal capacity. With the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan, which was adopted in 2018, Turkey aims to achieve savings of $32 billion in total by 2033. In this regard, approximately $11 billion of investments will be made by 2023, resulting in energy savings of 23.9 million tons of oil equivalent. This saving is equal to decreasing the primary energy consumption of Turkey by 14% in 2023 compared to base usage scenario. As part of the Turkey's efficiency efforts, Turkey will eliminate the need for $4.2 billion worth of power plant investments, while also providing additional employment for 20,000 people by 2023. Nearly 63% of Turkey's electricity produced throughout 2020 was generated from local and renewable resources. Canada is known for its diverse landscapes, untouched wilderness, and seemingly inexhaustible natural resources. The 38 million inhabitants of the second largest country in the world have access to boundless natural resources. With a 6% share of global oil production, Canada is the fourth largest oil producer in the world. Yet, renewable energy is becoming ever more important. Canada with its large landmass and diversified geography, has substantial renewable resources that can be used to produce energy. These resources include moving water, wind, biomass, solar, geothermal, and ocean energy. Canada is a world leader in the production and use of energy from renewable resources. Renewable energy sources currently provide about 18.9% of Canada's total primary energy supply. To strengthen the relation between the two countries, the potential should be turned into more trade and investment. I believe this webinar will play an important role in strengthening cooperation between Canada and Turkey, because the pursuit of a cleaner future is an endeavor with no end. It is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to Senior Trade Commissioner and Consul of Canada, Mr. Chris Wiemer, for his speech. Christopher Wiemer, BA Honors in Economics, University of Toronto, 2001, MA in Development Economics, Dalhousie University, 2006, Certified International Trade Professional, Concordia University, 2016, worked in Africa in development 3 NGOs as a day trader and marketing associate for RBC Dominion Securities in Toronto and economics professor in China through University of Wales. He was also a professional blues and rock musician earlier in life. He joined the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in 2008. Since joining, he has worked in the Latin American and Caribbean Commercial Relations Bureau, the Southeast Asian Commercial Relations Bureau, and he spent 3 years at the Canadian Embassy in Argentina and Paraguay as a Canadian Trade Commissioner, 2011 to 2014. He's married to Mary Wiemer and has one son, Tristan Wiemer. Chris speaks fluent English, French, Spanish with a basic level of Mandarin and Swahili. Dear Chris, as a mother of a pianist engineer son, I'm a fan of your resume. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Nurdan. I want to be clear that I started all this when I was 15. So then that's why I'm not that old yet. So just so you know. Thank you for everyone joining us today, and good morning to those of you that are in Canada, and good afternoon, I think is best to say to those in Turkey. I don't know, we're quite into the evening yet. It's a pleasure to be here on this webinar, along with some of our teams at the embassy and the consulate in Toronto as well. I know that my ambassador Kokar very much enjoys working with his counterpart, Ambassador Karim Uras, as much as I enjoy working with the team in Ottawa and Toronto as well, Mehmet and Hakan and others, a part of those team. And I know our team here in Istanbul and Ankara have nothing but great things to say. Today's webinar and many others that we've hosted over the past few months together have served to sort of build our relationship stronger. We already had a fairly strong building relationship, trade and investment wise, but now we're moving into how we can collaborate together, how we can work together in areas of innovation, how we can connect ecosystems and for incubation, research and development, acceleration, startups, connecting, like today, clean tech companies to some of the challenges that we're all facing in the world, and seeing how we can face those challenges together. I'm very impressed by the resilience and ambition and the speed at which Canadian and Turkish people and their companies have been able to react to this crisis we're in at the moment, which hopefully we'll put behind us soon. And I think one of the positive outcomes has been for greater participation in events, because we've turned to sort of virtual nature, and we've been able to, you know, expand a bit more because of that. Because previously for these sorts of events, you know, somebody would have to get on a plane and get all the way here and then free up their schedule and take time off work. Whereas now, as many of you are today, you can dial in from the office, you can dial in from home, you can dial in from almost anywhere in the world and participate in these forums. And I think that's a great way, but I do look forward to being able to meet a lot of you again in person and hold these events in person. So hopefully we're getting closer and closer to that. Until that time, though, I'm very thankful to DEİK and the Turkey Canada Business Council, Nerdan and her team for hosting this webinar today to raise awareness and provide information about the potential of geothermal opportunities in the market. Also, Mike Nerdan works often with Mike Ward and at the Canada-Turkey Business Council in Canada, and they work hand in hand. And of course, Mike is always, a strong supporter, ex-CEO Trade Commissioner, just an all-around great guy who continues to push the relationship forward and take things to the next level, as does Nerdan. So I'm very thankful to have those two people and their teams to sort of help us support as we build the relationship. And as we continue to sort of explore opportunities to strengthen our bilateral ties, we have to look forward to greener technologies and how that's going to help us. Because clearly, the way out of this pandemic will be paved through innovation, paved through greener technologies, and lead us to an industry 4.0 that has less effect on the environment, has more sustainable technologies, more of a sustainable economy. And I think that some of the conversations today will help get us there and hopefully connect people in Canada and Turkey so we can work together. So how can we do this? Great challenge. Well, promoting the innovation in the clean tech sector. The rapid adoption of carbon reducing technologies. We want to reduce the carbon, and the utilization of renewable energies will be important. And one of those areas is geothermal. And I know from being here over the last few years, the wealth of geothermal resources in Turkey. And we're looking forward to learn from Turkey how they've sort of explored and I hate to use the word exploited, but that's what we say in the extractive industry, but you need to exploit resources in a sustainable manner. And I think that this is one of those renewable technologies that we can utilize what the earth has given us without necessarily taking away from it. A couple months ago, actually, the Canadian Trade Commissioner Service here in Turkey presented a webinar to examine more closely the geothermal, hydrogen, and solar potential in Turkey. There was a lot of interest from Canadian companies, and I'm very pleased to see this momentum sort of continue today. Having greater collaboration between our respective business associations, our respective ministries of foreign affairs and our trade ministries, as well as fostering closer commercial ties through events like this one, will help grow mutual benefits for the both of us as we move forward. To speak a bit more broadly, Canada and Turkey collaborate and continue to collaborate and find ways to sort of expand our commercial ties between both markets. And on this topic, I should mention one of the big reasons why we're holding some of these events is we did sign a joint economic and trade committee agreement in June of 2019. We held our first meeting between deputy ministers of trade in November of 2019, sorry. And we skipped 2020 because of the COVID crisis, but hopefully we'll look forward to having another event, another JECO in 2021, likely in the fall. So many of you already have heard about the potential of geothermal projects in Turkey, but I'm hoping to learn about more of it today. So I would like to turn it over to some of the distinguished guests to present on some of their expertise and tell us, how geothermal is going to help us advance clean energy and get us to the next stage of this renewable energy endeavor that we have between Canada and Turkey. Thank you very much. I'm losing my voice a bit here. I need a glass of water, but thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to comment. And I'm really looking forward to listening to you all today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your speech, Chris. Now, I'd like to give the floor to General Manager responsible for investments, operations, and maintenance of Zorlu Energy, Mr. Ali Kindap. General Manager Ali Kindap graduated from the Department of Mechanical Engineering at Middle East Technical University in 1990. He began his professional career at Gamma Group of Companies, and later he worked at Görüş İnşaat Mühendislik Anonim Şirketi. He joined Zorlu Energy Group in 2008 as Deputy General Manager at Zorlu Industrial and Energy Facilities Construction Trade. He was appointed as General Manager of Zorlu Energy Group as of January 1st, 2017. Ali Kindap became the chairman of the board of Geothermal Energy Association in 2020, and he is also a board member of the Turkish Cogeneration Association. The floor is yours, Mr. Kindap.
Thank you very much, Nurdan Hanım. It's also a pleasure for me to join today's webinar, and I have a good opportunity to share some information, some expertise of geothermal energy of Turkey. I have a presentation. I don't know. Do I have a chance to get this presentation from your side, or?
Yes.
You can do this. Okay, please do it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. If you do this. Okay. Okay. So again, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much again for this organization. So when I get this presentation, I want to start giving to you some, as I said, our expertise and overview of Turkish geothermal, and also some information about the world geothermal. So we haven't seen yet this presentation. Is there any problem?
We're going to start in right now, actually, Ali.
Okay, okay. So let me continue. As Nurdan said, my name is Ali Kindap. So I'm responsible for operation and maintenance group of Zorlu power plants. And I'm also having another, let me say, hat. So I'm also chairman of Turkish Geothermal Energy Association. So I'm very old for the geothermal. So I've been involved in this business longer than 20 years, and I developed so many projects in Turkey. Also, I work with many groups in the world, and so I know also Canadian companies very well. I visited many times Canadian, and also we collaborate with some Canadian companies for the development of geothermal works business in Turkey. One of them is very famous, you know, maybe Cougar is a service company. So it has a base also in Turkey, and then we collaborate with this company to do some exploration and exploitation of the geothermals in Turkey. So we will be very happy to collaborate with this Canadian companies, some other Canadian companies. So let me start giving some speech about the geothermal in Turkey. So geothermal has a great potential of geothermal, and so this widens from the west to east and north to south of Turkey, and in every step we have there's a geothermal in Turkey. So it's a great potential. So and we as Turkey made a good progress in the last decade. You know, more than 100 times we develop projects. I mean, our capacities increased more than 100 times in the last decade. So when we look at the total installed capacity in the world, you can see today currently we have more than 15,000 megawatt installed capacity in the world, and then in the last decade with very steep progress, we reached to fourth in the world, and it was 15 maybe 10 years ago. So from the 17 megawatt, we reached to more than 1600 megawatts. So let's stay in this page. So you can see installed capacity of power plants in Turkey compared to the world. So we were in 17 megawatts in 2000, but when we come to 2020, we reached to more than 1600 megawatts. So it's impressive. I mean, so everybody says in the world, so how you come to this level? So we say that it's a Turkish progress. So it's an incredible progress. So we come to this level with a high effort, and also with some means of incentives. So I will explain this later. So with some incentives, Turkish market is open to private sector. And after this opening, so private sector made a good steps and then increased this capacity more than 100 times in just 10 years. So when we look at the world, also you can see there's also some progress, some increase in their in the capacities, but it's not as high as the Turkish movement. Also in the world, it comes to 15,000 megawatt capacity of the geothermal. So our geothermal also in this in the first table, you can easily see the ratio of the geothermal in the comparison of the geothermal installed capacity. So in 2002, we have a share only 2.2%. But when we come to 2020, we have a share more than 10% of total installed capacity of geothermal. So Turkish has a more than 11% of share. So the second table shows gives another information to us. This table says that the development of the installed capacities of electrical power generation. So we have in 2006, we have a share for the total installed capacity of electricity as 0.9%, but in 2019, we, as a Turkey, we come to 1.3% of the total generated capacity of the world. So the last table, this is another table about the geothermal installed power ratio, the total electric installed power in terms of the percentage. So in 2006, it was very minimum amount of percentage, but in 2020, as Turkey, 1.8% of the total installed capacity of the electricity in Turkey from geothermal, but in the world it's 0.2% of installed capacity of total installed capacity of electricity from geothermal. So this shows also Turkey made a big progress in terms of geothermal and then achieved a good progress. So in terms of renewable, of course, you know that in the last decade, the world made some good investments, and then in terms of wind and solar and geothermal, the installed capacities, you know, all countries have added some capacities for the renewables. So when we look at the year of 2018, for the wind, the total installed capacity reached to 591 gigawatt. In solar, 505 gigawatt. In geothermal, 13.3 gigawatts installed capacities the world has. when we look at the Turkish renewable power, so the bottom table gives us some information about the Turkish renewable power. So we compare this power in terms of wind. So we have just 7 gigawatts compared to 591. So this is the 1.2 of total installed capacity of the wind power. In solar, only 5 gigawatt, we have an installed capacity as Turkey. This is the 1% of the world capacity. In geothermal, so if you look at the bottom of the line, so it's around 10%. So this is a huge improvement as Turkey. We come to 10% of total installed capacity of geothermal by Turkey. So this is as I said, is a good progress in the last 10 years. So when we go to another next page, please. The Turkey, I want to give some numbers about Turkish energy sector. So I can say that with the last improvements, we come to a good point as Turkey. So we can say that 45% of the total installed capacity in Turkey is composed of renewable energy. We have as Turkey total installed capacity as 95,000 megawatts. And we have last year in 2020, we have generated 305 terawatt hours of electricity, and 3.3 of this is generated electricity is from only geothermal. So we have a good share in terms of geothermal in Turkey, and in the next years, we want to come to 5% of total generated electricity of Turkey as a 5%. This is our next target as geothermal. So this table shows, this page shows us and says us in 2020, Turkey has achieved a generation of 60% of total generation as domestic and renewable. This is a good achievement of Turkish electricity sector. So, as I said, we have in the last 10 years, we reached to 1,624 megawatt installed capacity. This is 100 times of installed capacity compared to in the last 10 years. We have also direct utilization of the geothermal in Turkey. We are heating 125,000 houses by geothermal energy. We have also a good heating application for greenhouses. We have 4,300 hectares of greenhouses heated by the geothermal energy. We have, with the last investigations, we reached to 60,000 megawatts thermal capacity. So this is a good number. So this is equals to 45 million ton equivalent petroleum, and this is its value is around of $15 million. If we can utilize all this energy, so we can reach to $15 million of value from this energy. So with this capacity, we can also reach to 5,000 megawatt of electricity power plants. So we are right now 1,600 megawatt installed capacity. With this, investigations, we can reach to 5,000 megawatt of electricity installed capacity. So this still some way to go for us for some new let me say investments. So we were in 2084 as Turkey we are only 15 megawatt capacity. As I said, we come to 1600 megawatt capacity in last 10 years. So this is a huge development. We have already reached 3.6 of total energy generation from geothermal. This is a good result from us. Also, Turkey achieved this by YEK'ten. This is a good. It was a good mechanism. It has made a good contribution to this success. With this YEK'ten, we achieved a good these numbers. Studies, we are still going on some studies, and we are trying to to develop some new projects and also add some new fields. But as I said, with all the studies and the investigations, we come to 60,000 megawatt thermal capacity. So with this capacity, we can create some new power plants and some direct utilization. So we have still some ways to go. So as you know, geothermal is not only a way to generate electricity, also it was used for some other purposes like greenhouse heating, some district heating, mining, drying, cooling, dry ice applications. So we have some good example all of these kind of applications. So we have as Turkey, we have made some estimations. We can say that we did some good progress for the direct utilization, but we have some good ways to go. I can say that 100,000 acres of greenhouse heating can be achievable. We have more than 1,500 spots, and also we have some fumeros, some natural geothermal spots, and with these spots we can also get more than million of tourists in a year, and then we can create some good economics. So we believe that with the potential of Turkish geothermal energy, we can heat all the buildings and the residences easily with geothermal. We believe this. So we can also consider human history. We know that energy plays an important role in the development of the welfare of the countries. We have taken an important step to features of our country with the introduction of geothermal and the development of geothermal. We can increase the effect of the geothermal for Turkey. So we are doing a good business in geothermal. So as a last words, I can say geothermal has a very high potential in our country, and then we have already used some portion of this potential. With this some portion, or let me say some minimum portion, we have created very good businesses in terms of electricity production, district heating, greenhouse heating, and some other applications. But we have still some other potentials, huge potentials for some new developments, for new power plants, construction, and some for direct utilization. So as Turkey, we have a good knowledge, expertise, coming from the last 10 years as private sector. So we have a good atmosphere, doing some new projects, and we are looking for some other partners as Canadian partners to welcome them in Turkey and then do some new projects. So as I said, there's a huge potential, good business opportunities, and we are ready to collaborate. Thank you very much giving me this opportunity, and wishing you a very good webinar for everybody.
Thank you very much, Ali Bey, for all these valuable information. We are learning a lot today. Thank you. Now I turn the floor over to Gürmen Group board member, Ms. Yasemin Gür Solmaz. Ms. Solmaz is the board member of Gürmen Group, which is active in retail, energy, agriculture, livestock management, and dairy farming. She is responsible for strategic development. Yasemin Gür Solmaz qualified from the University of London with a degree in business and a Master of Science at Birkbeck University of London in economics. Yasemin is the board member of DEİK, Turkey, United Kingdom Business Council. She carries out studies to participate women in workforce and enhancing the leadership, putting emphasis for youth and educational affairs. Also applying good agricultural practices using sustainable methods for production and zero waste with renewable energy sources within rural areas to improve the regions are key roles that Mrs. Gür Solmaz involved in. Yasemin Hanım, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nurdan, as a chairperson for Turkey-Canada relations for organizing such an event and an important subject. As a board member of Turkey, United Kingdom, I am here as a business person and an NGO. So I would like to represent both worlds in this important sector. I also have a role in agriculture, and I want to emphasize the importance between food security and energy, and I will show the correlation because they are inseparable. I would like to take a slightly broader approach on renewable before focusing on geothermal, because I think we have to see the bigger picture before. In 2021, the annual global investment expected in renewables and energy is $1.9 trillion US. In Turkey, we want to be a bigger part of this, and we hope with the Canada DEİK relations that we can get a bigger part of this picture, and we hope that Mr. Chris Wiemer will build a bridge for us between our companies. This is back to pre-COVID investment levels, and the composition has shifted towards power ends usage and away from traditional fuel production. If I may, I want to show you some infographics. This obviously varies by country, but the increase in 2021 is going to be 4.6 above 2020. Therefore, we are reducing the contraction that we had to coming to pre-COVID levels. Despite this, many companies are still in a fragile state, but taking advantage of monetary policies and UNDP's 2050 zero emissions, this is a great opportunity for restructuring. We must restructure. Renewable energy sources are the drivers of the changing market, and 70% of all investment in energy will consist on renewables. Thanks to improved technology, $1 spent today on solar and wind is 4 times effective than it was 4 years ago. So it's 25% more efficient than what it was. Now, what we know is that renewable energy is synonymous with affordable and clean energy. So the transition from fossil fuels to catering for the UND Developers Sustainable Goals for 2030 is only possible with a strong framework. It is impossible and imperative that energy we need for every major change that we need and the world faces, from job security to climate change to increasing welfare and for inclusion, energy is essential. Now, renewable energy gives us a horizon and opportunities in creating more sustainable futures and communities. Therefore, at the moment, we know that there are 3 billion people without access to clean cooking, and a further 1 billion people, especially in Africa, without access to electricity, where we know that there are abundance of energy in renewables, especially water and solar. Fortunately, progress has been made, but it is slow. What we need is more access to clean fuel and more technology, and more progress needs to be made in integrating renewable energy into end users. At the moment, 81% of the energy mix is fossil fuel. We need to change this now. In Turkey, we have been very efficient and very lucky because our infrastructure and our government policies have made us invest in, as Mr. Ali Kindap explained as well, with the feed-in tariffs and guaranteed prices, investment has been great in Turkey. Electrification of automobiles has also been a sector, and lawmaking for zero emissions has also supported net zero emissions and renewable energy. In our pathway to net zero emissions, 90% of electricity 2050 must come from renewables. Now, Turkey's strategic plan is very important in this because our renewable sector is growing rapidly, and geothermal in Turkey is growing as well, as explained before. However, what we know, in 2050, the electricity need will be 8% smaller than what it is today, and will cater for 2 billion more people and an economy that is twice as bigger than today. What this means is that we'll be using more efficient energy, resources will be better defined, and we will combine efficiency and resources to be able to cater for everybody. Instead of fossil fuels, the energy sector will be based basically on renewable energy. 2/3 of this total will come from wind and solar, geothermal and geothermal energy. At the moment, it is 1% of the world, but in Turkey, it is around 1.8, and we hope that to be 3% by 2050. Now, at global level, renewable energy technologies are the key to reducing emissions. Wind and solar triples by 2030. But without battery division systems, dispatchable energy is very important. When we mean dispatchable energy, is that it is non-dependent on nature. So when the wind doesn't blow or the sun doesn't shine, these energies are on the demand of the system. And at the moment, it is 2%, 12% of the generation, 5% and 1% of the global energy supply on geothermal. Currently, Turkey is 3% and it is growing. We are the world's largest in geothermal in Europe, and we are the 3rd in the world. Another major issue, obviously, with energy is food security. As discussed many times before with Nurdan as well, as she's in the agriculture business, it is important that energy and food is addressed for the 2030 agenda of zero hunger. To achieve this, we must promote sustainable agriculture, as well as ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. And we need to do this within the renewable concept. Value chain gains importance towards more sustainable development, and it is a position that is used in every step of the process. A wide range of geothermal applications in agriculture is used in the agro industry, and it depends on varied fluid temperatures, obviously, with geothermal. And in Turkey, we are very happy, and we have very strong high temperatures. This only not offsets the carbon, but also amplifies the effectiveness of our engineering businesses. Now, so after such important strategies, what does MASPO do? What do we do from this bigger picture? Well, as Turkey is very abundant in geothermal resources and the reservoirs, it is important in preserving these reservoirs and using it to its maximum. Established in 2021, we started power creation in 2017. And the importance of geothermal discussed by this dispatchable energy on demand is an important in this closed loop system. Therefore, you are using the energy given by nature, and you are using the delta T and giving it back to nature. Our aim on being sustainable has led us to being the first accredited RE100 company in Turkey, meaning that we are using all electricity on our supply grid, on all of our sectors, that we have produced with green, renewable energy, and we have added to the grid. We are the first in Turkey, and we are proud to be this. As you can see, this is Ayla 2. We produce 30 megawatts, and we are proud to be within agricultural land, and we live side by side in harmony. Working with multidisciplinary engineering, from civil to computing, from aerodynamic to hydro, we work with over 20 different disciplines. They come together in harmony by preserving nature and embracing the power provided by the underwater reservoirs. As can be seen in the plant photos, we live together in an agricultural state. We live together in cohesion, and we embrace nature, what we have. We are also the most effective in land preservation and conservation by using less than 800 square meters per megawatt that we use. This is a great opportunity for the local community, and the inclusion for agricultural combines with the know-how that we have. Currently, what we are showing, as I showed in the picture, is we are building a greenhouse powered by geothermal and solar. So as I said, we will be using the secondary applications of geothermal and enhancing it as much as we can. As NASPO, we strive to produce the most effective energy by embracing the UN sustainable goal of affordable and clean energy, being number 7, sorry. By this, actually, we are addressing all of the 6 above. And we want to do this and be a pioneer in what we do. Therefore, I thank the MASPO team for their great enthusiasm, all their endeavors, their providers and continuous work that they work for 24 hours with a machine that is an engineering miracle. I hope that we will do much more together, and I will share our success stories with you in the future. I thank you for your presentation and for acceptance.
Yasemin Hanım, thank you so much for your valuable insights. Thank you. I'd like to give the floor to HiCOP Association President and 22nd, 23rd term Aydın Member of Parliament, Mr. Ahmet Ertürk. Aydın 22 ve 23. dönem milletvekili Sayın Ahmet Ertürk.
Nurdan Hanım.
Ben sizi biraz tanıtayım. Bir saniye. Çok affedersiniz. Bir özgeçmişinizden bahsedeceğim Ahmet Beyciğim. İstanbul Üniversitesi Hukuk Fakültesi mezunudur. Çiftçilik, serbest avukatlık, İl Genel Meclis üyeliği, ÖRKOP, Nazilli ve çevresi Örnek Hayvancılık Tarımsal Kalkınma Kooperatifi Yönetim Kurulu Başkanlığı, Tarış, İncir, Üzüm, Pamuk ve Yağlı Tohumlar Tarım Satış Kooperatifleri Birlikleri, Pamuk Birliği Murakap üyeliği, Aydın Tarımsal Amaçlı Kalkınma Kooperatifleri Üst Birliği Başkanlığı, Ankara Damızlık Sığır Yetiştiricileri Merkez Birliği Yönetim Kurulu üyeliği, Tarım ve Köy İşleri Bakanlığı Üreticiler ve Üretici Örgütleri Temsilciliği, Pamukören Eğitim ve Kültür Vakfı Mütevelli Heyeti üyeliği, Türkiye Büyük Millet Meclisi 22. ve 23. dönem Aydın Milletvekilliği, Türkiye-Singapur Parlamentolar Arası Dostluk Grubu Başkanlığı yapmıştır. Tarış, Pamuk Birliği Yönetim Kurulu üyeliği ve HiCOP Merkez Birliği Başkanlığı görevleri devam etmektedir. Geotermal projelerine gönül vermiş, ülkemizde ve yöresinde gelişmesi için çok çalışmış. Büyükbaş hayvan genetik bilimini yurdumuzda ilk uygulayan, suni tohumlamayı yaygınlaştıran bir üretici, kendini yörenin kalkınmasına adamış bir insan, sektörümüzün duayeni ve çeyrek yüzyıllık dostum Sayın Ahmet Ertürk. Evli ve 2 çocuk babasıdır. Ahmet Bey, söz sizin lütfen.
Nurdan Hanım, çok teşekkür ederim. Arkadaşlarımızı selam ederim. Hayırlı akşamlar dilerim herkese. Gerçi Kanada'da akşam değil galiba ama. Evet. Şimdi efendim tabii bu zaman dilimi içerisinde toplum için, toplumumuz için, insanlarımız için pek çok çalışmalar yaptık. Hep beraber yaptık. Birlikte yaptık. Burada konuşmacı olan değerli dostlarımızın da çok güzel katkıları var. Onları dinlemekten de fevkalade memnun olduğumu ben de söylemek istiyorum. Parlamentodayken, Büyük Millet Meclisi'ndeyken yenilenebilir enerji kaynakları ile ilgili yasal düzenleme yapıldı. Ve bu yasal düzenlemeden sonra rüzgar enerjisi, güneş enerjisi, jeotermal enerji, biyoenerji, yani hayvan gübrelerinden elde edilebilen biyogaz tabir ettiğimiz sistemlerden elde edilen enerji gibi, hatta çamurdan, körfez derin sularından elde edilen kenarlardaki kalıntılardan elde edilen enerji gibi pek çok şeyin yolu açıldı. Yani uzun yıllardan beri fosil enerjiyle insanlar enerji ihtiyaçlarını karşılarken son zamanlarda tabii devlet su işlerinin sağlıklı nehirlerden, sağlıklı ırmaklardan elde ettikleri, kurdukları santrallere rağmen şimdi yeni bir konsept başladı bütün dünyada. Rüzgar enerjisi, güneş enerjisi ve jeotermal enerji. Fakat tabii biz jeotermal enerjiyi çok iyi yapamadık yani. Ben iyi kullanamadığımızı düşünüyorum. Çok uğraştık konuyla ilgili ama bizim Maden Teknik Arama Enstitüsü'nden sonra tabii uzun yıllar önce Rusya'dan bir grup geldi ve Aydın'ın Buharkent ilçesinde bir jeotermal santral kurdular. O zaman biz çok küçüktük, çok garibimize gitmişti. Buhar çıkıyor yerden, bu buhar ne olacak böyle, Allah Allah, yerin altı boşalıyor falan gibi bir şeyler söyleniyordu. Ama sonra tabii öğrenildi ki bu bir temiz enerji kaynağı ve bu enerji kaynağından, bu akışkandan enerji üretilebiliyor. Sonra biz parlamentoda görev yaparken Sarayköy ilçemiz var. Hemen Buharkent ilçemizin yakınında. Sarayköy ilçemiz kuş uçumu 3 kilometre. Oranın belediye başkanı arkadaşımdı. Bir gün geldi, dedi ki ben buradan dedi bu sıcak suyu götüreceğim, gideceğim Sarayköy'ün şehri ısıtacağım dedi. Ya bunu yapabilir misin Ahmet dedi. Bunun adı Ahmet'ti. Yaparım abi, sen bana dedi izin alıver yeter ki dedi. Ya izini boş ver dedim ben. Bunu soran mı var zaten dedim. Su akıp gidiyor dedim Büyük Menderes Nehri'ne. Santralden çıkan su. Sen bu suyu dedim borunun içine koy götür ki Sarayköy'e dedim. Adam bir cumartesi pazar borularla 3 kilometrelik yeri kazdı ve şehri ısıttı. Şimdi tabii bunlar zaman dilimi içerisinde çoğaldı. Fakat sonra Milli Maden Teknik Arama Enstitüsü bu kazıları yaptıktan sonra çıkan enerji akışkanı maalesef kiralayan firmalarımız tarafından çok iyi kullanıldığını söyleyemem. Bunun içinde Gürüş gibi, Gürmat gibi, Zorlu grubu gibi çok düzgün ve deneyimli, donanımlı firmalarımız da vardı ama sadece işte bu işi yatırım yapmak için giren, bu sektöre giren, adım atan firmalar da vardı. Bu firmalar hani fillerin fincancı dükkanına girip de ortalığı kırıp döktükleri gibi geldiler, insanların tarlalarından, bahçelerinden ağaçlarını köklediler, gittiler. Böyle yeni bir santral kurma iradesi ortaya koydular. Kurallara pek uyulduğunu söyleyemem. Şu anda pek çok yerde jeotermal enerjiyle ilgili işte efendim gürültü ediyor. Bu santral çalışırken gürültü çıkarıyor. Millet karşı çıkıyor. Tabii bazen çeşitli sivil toplum kuruluşları veya hatta iktidara ters olan muhalefet belediye başkanları da yerel yönetimlerde bunları birazcık da tahrif de ediyor. İşte efendim yumurta kokusu, çürük yumurta kokusu, sarımsak kokusu gibi çeşitli isimler altında insanlar rahatsız eden ortamlar oluşabiliyor. Bunları düzeltmek lazım. Firmaların kuralları ve kaidelere uygun üretim yapmaları lazım. İşte efendim insanlar zehirleniyor, doğa kirleniyor gibi gene çok çeşitli böyle spekülasyonlar, bir algı operasyonu yaratılmaya çalışılıyor maalesef. Bunlara rağmen jeotermal enerji, arkada hem Yasemin Hanım'ın hem Ali Bey'in anlattığı gibi ülkemizde çok kısa zamanda çok iyi bir noktaya geldi. Tabii biraz daha yasal düzenlemelere uygun, kural ve kaidelere uygun yeni firmalar çalışırsa, dünyadaki teknolojiyle ve Kanada'dan arkadaşlarımız, İzlanda'dan, muhtelif ülkelerden oralarda gelişmiş jeotermal santrallerle ilgili çalışmaları yenileyebilirlerse ve onların teknolojisinden de yararlanabilirlerse Türkiye'nin yeni tanışmaya başladığı bu jeotermal akışkan çok büyük fırsatlar ve imkanlar ortaya çıkabilir. Mesela şu anda şehir ısıtması konusunda firmalar çok gayretli değiller maalesef. Önce diyorlar biz enerjiyi üretiriz. Hatta çıkan akışkanı tekrar reenjeksiyon yapmalıyız. Reenjeksiyon yaptıktan sonra eğer imkanımız varsa şehir ısıtması yapmalıyız. Balıkçılıkla ilgili çalışmalar yapmalıyız. Firmalar bunu kullanmalı. Fabrikalar, iş yerleri, kümesler, ahırlar, hayvancılık faaliyetleri yapan yerler, hatta seracılar, tarımcılar bunu kullanmalı. Hatta Türkiye bölgesinin bir tarımda çok iddialı bir ülkesi. Çilek var, incir var, zeytin var, zeytinyağı var. Avrupa'da İtalya ve İspanya ve Yunanistan'dan sonra bunlarla rekabet edebilir bir ortamı var. Ve bu ürünlerin kurutularak dünya pazarlarında tüketicilere sunulması için de mutlaka bizim jeotermali kullanmamız lazım. Daha temiz enerji, daha kalıntısız bir enerji. Jeotermalle bu tesislerimizi işletebilir halde olmalıyız. Tabii şimdi dünyada bu kural ve kaidelere uyulduğu takdirde bir algı operasyonuyla işte bunlar çok gürültü çıkarıyor, çürük yumurta kokusu çıkarıyor gibi sözler söyleyen kişiler veya kurum ve kuruluşlar da daha değerli toplu olmak zorunda kalacaklardır. Şimdi bölgemizde jeotermal enerjinin yanında diğer rüzgar enerjisi, güneş enerjisi gibi yenilenebilir enerji kaynaklarıyla da firmalarımız insanlara enerji ihtiyaçlarını karşılamak için üretim yapıyorlar. Ancak jeotermalde bilhassa termal turizm konusunda biraz daha gayret gösterirsek, şu anda var ama Kütahya tarafında, Ankara tarafında bazı yerlerimizde termal turizmle ilgili çalışmalar var ama bunu yaygınlaştırabiliriz. Mesela İzmir'de Balçova'da termal turizmle ilgili bir çalışma var. Orada Kuzey Avrupa ülkelerinden, işte Finlandiya, İskandinavya gibi, Norveç gibi ülkelerden pek çok dünya vatandaşı Türkiye'ye gelip 15 günlük turlar halinde Türkiye'de bu jeotermal kaynaklardan elde edilen sıcak suyla termal turizm disiplini altında sağlıklı bir yaşam tarzı sürmeye çalışıyorlar. Bunları tabii geliştirmeliyiz. Bunları geliştirebilecek irade ve ortam müsait, her şey var. Ama bütün sıkıntı firmaların yüksek teknolojiyi kullanmaları lazım. Yüksek teknolojiyle bu işi yapan dünyadaki ülkeler belli. Bu ülkelerden işte Kanada gibi, İzlanda gibi bu ülkelerden teknoloji transferi yapılması lazım. Veya bizim teknoloji transferi yapan firmalarımız, Hürmat gibi, Zorlu gibi firmalarımız da bu teknolojik fırsat ve imkanları diğer bu konuyu yatırım yapmak isteyen firmalarla paylaşmalılar. Çünkü ülkede muazzam bir jeotermal kaynak var. Türkiye kuzeyde Karadeniz, güneyde Akdeniz, işte batısında Ege Denizi ile beraber 3 denizin birleştiği yerde böyle muazzam bir coğrafi yapı içerisinde yeraltı zenginliklerini mutlaka kullanması lazım. Ama bakıyoruz ki firmalar işte seracılık yapmak isteyen arkadaşlarımıza ya işte biz kendi akışkanımızdan, kendi enerji imkanlarımızla çıkan sıcak suyu kendi seramızı kullanırız diyorlar. Pek çok insan yatırım yapamıyor. Halbuki Türkiye'nin önü açılsa, Türkiye hem yaz hem kış domateste, çeşitli sebze ve meyvelerde dünyaya iddialı bir tarımsal potansiyel sunabilir. Tabii bu tarımsal potansiyel içinde şimdi kömürle veya mazotla seraları ısıttığımız zaman hem bitkinin üzerinde bir koku hem de bir kalıntı, işte dumanından, rüzgarından, kalıntı külünden fırsatı, imkanı oluyor. Halbuki jeotermalle ne bir kül var, ne bir kalıntı var. Hiçbir şey yok. Çok temiz bir enerji ve bununla elde edilen ürünlerde dünya pazarında çok daha kıymetli ve çok daha albenili hale gelebiliyor. Tabii en önemli konulardan bir tanesi de işte bunları da kurutarak dünya pazarlarına sunmak. Onun için belki gerekli yasal düzenlemeler yapılabilir. Belki birkaç çalışma da olabilir, ortaya konulabilir. Bu çalışmalarla beraber parlamentoda bu jeotermal firmalarının daha disiplinli, daha değerli toplu olmaları yönünde bir çaba harcanabilir. Ben o bakımdan bu jeotermal enerjinin öncelikle ülkemizin ve insanlarımızın ihtiyacı olan enerji üretiminin yanında, şehir ısıtmacılığında, fabrikaların, ahırların, kümeslerin ısıtılmasında ve sebzelerin, meyvelerin kurutulmasında ve hatta seracılıkta yetiştirilmesinde daha çok kullanıma açılmasını inanan birisiyim. Ve bunun için çaba harcıyoruz, gayret ediyoruz. Tabii güçlerimizi ve imkanlarımızı birleştirdiğimiz takdirde bizim çözülemeyecek hiçbir sorunumuz, aşılamayacak hiçbir engelimiz olmayacaktır diye düşünüyorum. Ben bu duygularımla çok teşekkür ediyorum. Kolay gelsin, iyi akşamlar olsun.
Çok teşekkür ederiz Ahmet Bey, bu değerli sunumunuz için. Çok teşekkürler. I turn the floor over to Saturn Power CEO, Mr. Ray Roth. Mr. Ray Roth is the board member. Mr. Roth is an established business leader and has founded several successful businesses. He began his entrepreneurial career by building Roth Drainage Limited, the largest drainage contracting firm in North America. Following the sale of Roth Drainage, he established a successful directional drilling company in addition to several ventures in real estate. Ray credits his farm upbringing to maintaining his solid commitment to the stewardship of all lands. The floor is yours, Mr. Roth.
Hello, everyone. I'm pleased to be here to present to you from my farm in Canada. The rest of the presenters today, you have painted quite a picture of geothermal and its importance worldwide. And it sort of reminds me of the basic reason why, you know, me and my co-founder started the company, which is that we must give the land back to our children in a better state than we found it. So with this concept, using geothermal, and what our company is primarily, we started out with a wind farm, but our focus is solar and storage. Devin, maybe you can go to the next slide. So as the organizer noted, I'm one of the co-founders of the company. We've been at it for about 15 years doing renewables. And our venture in Turkey was coordinated and guided by Nursel Atar, who is our country director. We're very pleased to have worked with her for these years. Next slide. We're a small company by the magnitude of many of our competitors, but we do have staff around the world. We do engineer, own, and operate our own facilities. Wind and energy primarily, and storage is we see as a very pivotal point to really long-term penetration of renewables. What we do, I guess I stated that we want to give the land back to our children in a better way than we found it. So I think that covers philosophy and what we do. You've already heard about my background. My partner is also a pioneer. He also pioneered really in the fertilizer business with liquid fertilizer versus bulk fertilizer, which was a pioneering company, and he moved on from that, and we formed Saturn Power. Our operations now, basically we have 83 megawatts of solar operating, 10 megawatts of wind, and 20 megawatt hour storage facility in Canada. We're just finishing up a project in Bermuda, and we're under construction at 10 megawatts in Saskatchewan, is one of the provinces in Canada, the Prairie Province. And over time, we built out 4 projects totaling some 10 megawatts in Turkey. These are the 4 projects we were proud to have completed, and we've actually sold these projects. Tatkoy was 4 and a bit megawatt system. Goslar 2 megawatt. Nide was 2.9, and Denizli 4.3. These are all nice projects, and we were quite happy to have worked on them. These are some of the projects we've completed in Ontario, Canada. Our largest one that we still own and operate, David Brown Solar Farm, is a 10 megawatt site located in Ontario. Bruce Power is our storage facility. And Bermuda Solar is on the thumb. They call it the finger part of the, just as you land at the airport, you would see this solar site there. The Gesner wind project is a 10 megawatt system, and it's our first and only wind project. We like solar much better than wind for the size of our company. It just works better. We did build 20 megawatts, 2 of them are a 10 megawatt and another 10 megawatt, which was the Deschutes solar project in Oregon. And then finally a smaller site in Sprucedale. I do, before we start this, I want to make a comment about like we were operating in Turkey, Canada, US, Bermuda. So our experience is in solar primarily. And I would say that one of the biggest problems in getting penetration of renewables is actually navigating the political climate in every area. For example, Ontario, which is where we started and did the bulk of our early business, had the government at the time had great foresight and established a Green Energy Act, which enabled these projects to be built. Our last premier, who is now our current premier, Premier Ford, ran his platform opposing renewables. And he successfully tore up the Green Energy Act. And so now we have very little renewables in Ontario. And we see a lot more potential right now in the US. So whether we're in Turkey, Bermuda, Ontario, or the US, we do rely on government policy to get our projects in place. And I think that as these projects get less expensive to build, we rely less and less on government policy, and the projects stand more on their own. So over time, we will need the government less and less, which I think is a good thing. I don't know, Nursel, do you want to jump in on some of this now?
Nursel, I think you're on mute right now. We cannot hear you. You're still on mute.
Okay.
Sorry, now can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
I was wondering if you want to take a few of these slides yourself.
Yeah, well, of course. I wasn't expecting this, so it is a surprise for me.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. So renewable in Turkey is getting a little more challenging, unfortunately, for all companies. We are waiting for some regulations, like Green Energy Act, the one in Canada. So this was not expected, Ray. You put me on the spot.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
You did. So, okay.
Okay, I'll carry on with the slides then, and then if I need you, I'll ask you to come in. So the current slide we're on now really is showing the worldwide current penetration of solar. Shows US at 77.5 gigawatt, Canada 5.1, and then if we jump down to Turkey, 6.7. So I had, Devin put this together. I was quite surprised. Turkey has pretty decent penetration, but so much potential to continue with solar. You can go to the next slide, Devin. Future renewables worldwide. Well, there's so much sun and wind all the time that there's unlimited potential, providing that the government provides, enables us to, we sometimes say that if government just gets out of our road, we can get lots more done. But I would say that the biggest driver in being able to enable wind and solar in the last number of years is the exponential drop in the price of solar and wind products, specifically solar. Over the last 15 years has dropped. From we've seen in the beginning almost $4 a kilowatt to less than 30 now. So the drops have been substantial, and it's really allowed a lot the price, the PPA prices, to be much better. You can go to the next slide, Devin. Our renewable targets in Canada, as you can see, in Ontario, for example, which is the province where we reside in, there's no targets. Where 3 years ago there was substantial targets. So our federal government has announced programs and targets, but really the individual provinces need to enable this concept. So Alberta has a 30% penetration target by 2030. You see BC has nothing really defined. Manitoba has a lot of hydro facility already. New Brunswick, none of these really have targets that Nova Scotia does. Probably Saskatchewan's got one of the largest, the heaviest, the largest standard is 50%. We're quite active in Saskatchewan. As far as Saturn Power's target markets right now, we're concentrating on New York State, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Colorado, Texas, Washington, Oregon, and New Mexico. Our heaviest concentration is really New York. They have the highest standard, and it's community solar based. Next one, Devin. This is a slide showing the renewable penetration in Europe. Typically, I think Germany probably led the way with heaviest concentration of wind. But it's clear there's a long way to go, or we have a lot of potential till we get to 100% of each of these markets. Next slide. From our work in Turkey, you know, Turkey is got a great position. Southeast Europe and Middle East, the solar potential is phenomenal, especially in the southeastern Anatolia and the Mediterranean provinces. You know, those projects we had were quite successful, and the irradiation is quite good. I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know, but the capacity has increased in the past decade, growing from 3 megawatts in 2008 to some 921 megawatts in 2018. And not a large contribution, but we did contribute 10 megawatts of.
And 20 in waiting. And sorry? 20 megawatt in waiting, right? 20
megawatts in waiting, yep. Renewables in Turkey, the future. I think your target is to increase the renewables to 30% by 2023. 2023 isn't very long. When you look at renewable projects, usually they have from start to finish, it's probably at least a couple of years till you get permits and the plant commission. So if the target is 30% by 2023, everybody needs to get busy. The increase capacity to 16,000 megawatts from the current 5,000 by 2027. Increasing wind capacity to 16,000 megawatts from the current 7,000 by 2027. So these are pretty good goals, but it's going to require some investment, and government needs to enable this goal. I think that's the end of my presentation. Other than to say, I'll say one more thing, a very small thing, but you know, I know very little about geothermal. I'm very excited to hear about it. But just as a matter of interest, my farmhouse that I'm presenting from is actually heated by a geothermal system. It's heated and cooled by its own small little 4-ton geothermal system. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rowe. Thank you. Now we are starting to Göktekin Energy. The company receives its energy from the sun, and which, reflecting this energy on every aspect of life, work for a clean and sustainable world. The priority is to do with all the power we have good for our country and the world. The team are aware of the fact that each kilowatt of solar power they introduce to use will reduce our foreign energy dependence. Therefore, it is their task to spread the awareness that energy is to be generated where it is consumed. They are raising awareness in the society by providing energy efficiency consultancy for the purpose of preserving the quality and amount of electricity they produce, and eliminating the consumption inefficiencies by using the existing energy sources more efficiently. Finally, I'd like to give the floor over to Göktekin Enerji CEO, Mr. Abdullah Göktekin.
Abdullah Bey. Nurdan Hanım, dilerseniz bir Ali Bey'e gelen bir soruyu alalım. Galiba internet problemi yaşıyor şu an Abdullah Bey.
Yavuz Öztürkler is a professor at Kafkas University in Kars City. He has a question to Mr. Ali Kindap. He says, thanks to all panelists for their valuable presentations. I would like to ask Mr. Ali Kindap about wind energy using of the renewable energy resources. As I understand that the geothermal energy production is in the level of a satisfactory rate in Turkey compared with world, but why is the using of wind and solar technology using is low rate in Turkey? Thanks in advance. Professor Dr. Yavuz Öztürkler.
Thank you very much for this question. My opinion is opposite. I mean, we have a good progress in terms of geothermal, but also we have good progress in terms of wind and solar as well. In geothermal, the incentive rate was good. In the terms of tariff, feed-in tariff, but for the wind and solar, so in the last decade, the technology and the level of the cost for these two applications is improved. At the first years of the incentives, I mean the feed-in tariff, the level of the cost was high. So in those days, the building of the new projects was very slow, but with the improvements of the technology along with the feed-in tariff terms, so is improved, and then the cost of the construction become competitive in the second time of the feed-in tariff term, and then but the time left is less. So in those days, so many projects completed, implemented, but this is the capacities we have already reached. But so also it's a good progress, but this is the first reason, the cost level. The second issue is, of course, some permit issues, and the regulation issues also was another issue, because taking some permits takes time, and then this affects the progress implementation of the projects and the number of the projects. Some projects takes time to get all necessary permits, and some other kind of permits. This kind of things affected the number of the projects. But many projects completed in those days in that terms. After 2020, we come to another kind of YEKDEM. It's a new YEKDEM. It's already announced by the government. And then with this new YEKDEM, there is some new numbers, some new price. And also there is another mechanism also come to our life. It's YEKA. YEKA is also is a new kind of mechanism, and to producing the tender takes time, and then the first tenders in solar already announced, and then the first bidding process has been already completed. 1,000 megawatt of solar is already bid, and then the winners already started their project. And the government also announced another 2,000 megawatt YEKA for the wind. And this will take place in this year, and the last quarter of this year, the bid process will take place, and then 2,000 megawatt of wind also will be, started by the winners. And another 1,000 megawatt of solar also will be announced by the government this year. So it means that this year 4,000 megawatt of solar and wind project will be bid. So this means that we will add another 4,000 megawatts of new projects to our portfolio in Turkey. So every year, the government also announced that every year, at least 1,000 megawatt of solar and the wind projects will be tendered. So up to 2023, we will, the project capacity in Turkey for wind and solar will reach to 20,000 megawatts. So this is a huge, capacity for Turkey, and so the government already, set a process for this, reaching 20,000 megawatt of solar and wind. This is the one part of the, installing capacities, creating capacity for wind and solar. On the other side, also there is some stability issue is critical for new solar and wind projects, because this is not base loads for the grids. So some grids, also grid side, side, there should be some investments to be done to absorb this amount of huge capacities for the grid stability. So many investments has been done in parallel to get to add some new capacities in solar and wind. So according to government program and schedule, this is already planned, and then as I said, 20,000 megawatt of capacity is created by the government until 2023, and this is according to program. And this renewable projects also will be in progress. I think that this will be enough. I mean, this is according to government policy.
Thank you, Ali Bey. Abdullah Bey is back. Now, Abdullah Bey, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you. Sorry for the disconnection. Well, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. We as Göktürk Energy mainly doing EPC operations in Turkey, mostly for rooftop project and greenfield projects. Actually, we started pretty well for photovoltaic market in Turkey in 2017. Turkey was the the country who installed the most capacity in Europe. And we were picking up pretty well, but then unfortunately the market slowed down. But after some legislations that was made by the Ministry of Energy, the self-consumption legislation has been published, and this had opened a lot of opportunities for the photovoltaic market, especially industrial buildings and factories started to take the trend for the self-consumption photovoltaic projects. And actually 2 weeks ago, there was a new legislation that was allowing multi-located consumers to install one PV field outside of their location. Until 2 weeks ago, the legislation was only allowing us on the top or the face of the building. But now the new legislation is giving us the opportunity to install the solar farm in a different location and be able to do net metering in multi-consumption locations. And that is going to offer a lot more capacity into market. We were expecting a very high demand, but unfortunately with the recent events in China, there was a huge supply crisis, and the photovoltaic module prices are going out of the roof because there's only limited manufacturers of the silicons, and that's pretty much delaying all the investments at the moment. But we believe this is a very short artificial reason for the PV module prices. We don't think it's going to take too long, and I believe around September or October things are going to start normalizing again. And there's also huge hybrid project potentials in Turkey. Also, legislation that was published a couple months ago. Every hydropower plant, geothermals, biomass power plants, wind farms are being allowed to install solar as an hybrid project. This was extremely exciting for the market, and this was going to bring 2.5 to 4 gigawatt of additional solar capacity with the hybrid legislation. But with the same reason that was just talked, this module and cell prices fluctuating too hard in China is pretty much making all the investors postpone their investment dates. Yeah, we were like right about the boom in the market, and those things in China unfortunately made everything kind of slow down. But Turkey is a very future promising country for the potential of the renewable. Like we mentioned just now, the geothermal is doing a perfect performance, and the wind is growing quite fast. The new YEKA tenders are taking very high interest from private investors. Even with Turkish lira, actually, the results were quite surprising for everyone. But it's quite future promising and quite exciting for the renewable market. We believe that after the Q4 of this year, things are going to start picking up again, and I believe beginning from 2022, Turkey wouldn't or shouldn't install less than 1.5 to 2 gigawatt of photovoltaic capacity each year. Any questions? Can you hear me?
Abdullah Bey is finished?
Yes, I'm finished.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I think we are closing the webinar. İlkim? İlkim?
Yes.
To all our keynote speakers, thank you for sharing your valuable views in the quest of a clearer future. I was delighted to hear your thoughts, and I'm pretty sure that our guests share the feelings. Our common vision is for renewable energy to play a central role in transforming the world's energy usage and production. Thank you again for joining us. I wish a healthy day to all of us. Thank you so much. Ahmet Bey, çok teşekkür ederiz. Herkese çok teşekkürler katıldığınız için.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.